And we are live back again, recording. This time it's going to be a special conjunctional effort with our friends, well, since we're students as well, and faculty and staff and students of National University. But this is also as well working in partnership with our site, yourgamesource.com. You can also say this is our 141st podcast. But for all intents and purposes, this will be on the air as well for National University from our friends at the NU Herald. My name is Gerald Glassford, sometimes known as Yes Elvis Lives on my video game, alternative lifestyle for lack of a better term. But I'm here today with my good friend and also fellow National University student. Did you want to attach any, like magna cum laude, or any other Latin words to promote just exactly how good you are and try and impress the people out there? It is Josh Peterson, the author of Vendetta Dark. How are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. Thanks for asking.
No worries. I was going to see if you wanted to add anything on there as far as it's concerned after National University student and whatnot. So
I don't have any fancy titles.
okay, fair enough. Well, no, yes, you do. You are our resident comic book and Marvel expert, and also, well, DC expert as well. So there you go. Case in point, he's got his Civil War book. He is preparing. He is undergoing great studying at this point in time because this is a great week for comic book fans. Well, if internationally, if you already got a taste of what's going on, because Captain America Civil War kicks off the summer box office movie season in United States, anyways, this weekend. It's already debuted to over $200 million overseas. It is garnering money like gangbusters, as they say. Is doing very well. And I know Josh will have a lot to say about that. But first off, I want to touch on the movie itself a little bit. Marvel's been very careful to actually go into detail as far as it's concerned on what the outlining details of why the Civil War in the movie Marvel Cinematic Universe takes place. But I know there are some drastic differences, obviously, of course, because you can tell the story out over several series of comic books within the comic book lore. But tell me your thoughts going into it, because I know you have a ticket almost already in hand as far as it's concerned for a Thursday night showing, from what you told me. And you are eagerly anticipating it. And as you can see by my Avengers shirt, I am as well. I've got my girls all ready. They're all psyched. They want to go this weekend. But your thoughts this week on what you feel is going to happen for movie viewers at Captain America Civil War?
That's the great thing about this movie is I really don't know what to think. I know there's going to be a lot of superheroes fighting each other, lots of explosions, typical of a Marvel film. But right now I'm really curious just what is going to cause this conflict. Like the trailers look awesome, but it's all extremely vague. Like you see Captain America sitting at a funeral. You see just Spider-Man bursting through a window fighting the Winter Soldier. It's all like really like quick flashes of everything, so it's hard to piece a story together. And because they don't have all the characters that are prominent in the comic book, they can't really do a whole lot with this. And this is the first time, because Spider-Man was a huge part of the comic books. I don't know if you read them, but he was really at the heart of the Civil War. So it's hard, especially since they're just introducing him, to really go, do the arc that's true to the comic book. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
As am I, indeed. I know, obviously the conflict and everybody seeing them go at it, the different comic book superstars go at it, and that's just eye candy for us, even the general fan at large, seeing all that displayed on screen. But if you could parlay that into the future for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what conflicts may come out of it, because the Civil War, obviously is going to lead to a dissension among the group known as the Avengers. but how does that parlay into having them, obviously having to unite later with the, well, the already announced Infinity Wars coming up against Thanos here in 2018 and 2019 for Infinity War parts 1 and 2, if I'm correct.
Yeah. There, with the exception of Thor, there aren't really a lot of like the core Avenger movies coming out. I know Iron Man is supposed to appear in the Spider-Man Homecoming, but other than that, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of like Captain America and them until the Infinity Wars rolls around. I do, however, think that just like in the comic books, this Civil War is going to change the landscape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you'll probably be hearing about it in the movies. Obviously, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. always ties into that stuff.
Of course, and I know that one of the things that they've done is with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that their introduction of the Inhumans may be one of the underlying reasons. Also, as well, the from Disney, obviously, announcing Indiana Jones 5 in that central release time frame as well. But Inhumans has been taken off the Marvel Cinematic Universe schedule and maybe only be parlayed through and via the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television series. Your thoughts on that as far as it's concerned? Is that something that you were hoping to see on the cinematic universe? Something we may still see in large detail, but for right now, it seems to be relegated to off the board for Marvel at this time.
Yeah, honestly, the Inhumans, as much as I like the comic books, I didn't really picture that as being like a big screen movie. I know it was the director was tied onto it only because he would only agree to do something for Disney or Marvel as long as he could do, and they made an Inhumans movie. But that's what I was kind of curious about, is how because obviously the movie wasn't going to come out until 2018, so they have 2 or 3 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before they reach the Inhumans, and they're already touching on the Inhumans. So there's not really going to be a lot of story that they can tell us that we don't know, that's going to be worth telling by the time Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets around to that point. I would still be down to see it. I don't really know. There's not really a lot of great stories to come out of that comic book series.
Fair enough, and I think that may be one of the reasons why that Disney and Marvel may have put it on the back burner for now, at least. But obviously, telling the bigger story with the Infinity Wars on the horizon, and all the movies that are at least going to, in some way, gear towards those Infinity Wars. How do you see everything lining up so far? As from obviously it has to be different from the comic book lore, as I said, because you can tell a story in so much more grand detail via the comic books than you can within the movie scheme. But those Marvel movies, as far as is concerned, coming up now and in the future, not only have to tell their own story, but also have to start planting the seeds for the Infinity Wars from this point going forward. Is that not correct?
Yeah, correct. And the whole, I think that movies should stay true to the source material somewhat, but what I like about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that they're telling these hero stories in a way that they've never been seen before. It's kind of like what Marvel tried to do with their Ultimate Universe, is have like a great, like a retelling of stories, because people don't want to, they don't want to read or see stories that they already know. They want something new, but at the same time, they want it to be familiar, if that makes sense. So I like seeing this, and I like the new direction they're going, because they're opening up, obviously, with Thor. They did this. Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy, they opened up like new realms, and as far as Doctor Strange is concerned, coming up, that's a whole different, like the mystic side of Marvel. So there's a lot that they haven't gone through yet. So I think they're all these people saying that the superhero movie is going to eventually fizzle out. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of stories that Marvel can still tell.
As do I. I mean, their universe is still right in the middle of what they want to do. In fact, they've obviously they made plans after the Infinity Wars as far as movies that are on their schedule. They seem a lot more stable in how they want to progress than the DC universe at this point in time, because as you and I have seen, um,
It's been somewhat disappointing.
Somewhat disappointing with Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice garnering, well, it will end up worldwide probably between 850 and $900 million, which to most analysts will be seen as either a wash, a break even, or a slightly disappointing number. But even if that's the case, I have hope for them, because the reason why is Man of Steel was not exactly well thought of as well. That garnered almost $700 million worldwide. Just think if the Justice League or Wonder Woman or one of these upcoming movies on the DC slate actually does translate well to audiences. Just think of the box office potential for that series, or the new Batman coming up that Ben Affleck is going to create. So that's something that they can look forward to. But for right now, Marvel is the hot ticket of the comic book world and of the movie world as well. So I ask you, Josh, is there some movies? Well, just 3 movies. I'll give you ask you for 3 movies you are looking forward to this summer movie season.
Ooh, I have to say, Suicide Squad is on the top of my list.
That's an August release, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And I am actually really looking forward to Jason Bourne. I absolutely love those movies, love the books. So that's high on my list. There's another one I was looking at.
I know they filmed some scenes here in Las Vegas. I know the movie seems to be in their limited introduction of the trailers and whatnot. Seems to be garnering great interest again, because it is coming back to the original Bourne character.
Yes. And Independence Day Resurgence is probably my number 3. I'm a sucker for nostalgia movies. So I didn't think the sequel would ever happen, but now that I've seen the trailers, and Jeff Goldblum's back, so I don't know how you can go wrong there.
And that's something I want to ask you as far as it's concerned, because Ghostbusters is also coming out, and those two have had considerable gaps from previous movies. We have seen in the recent past several movies, most notably Zoolander 2, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, and several others who have had a great distance of years, 7, 10, 12, 15-year gap between movies, have not garnered the success because a lot of fans just, have grown. There are new fans that have come out to the movies, and they didn't get to see, or they have not seen the previous movies, so they don't have that kind of connection. And we've seen that transfer into a lot of box office failures. But your thoughts on, as far as it's concerned, because you said you want to see Independence Day, and I have seen it too, and look forward to seeing the sequel. But your thoughts on movies like that and Ghostbusters, who have such a large gap in between, as far as it's concerned, do you think they can still connect with audiences in a large fashion?
I think that movies have a shelf life. Like, if you want to make a sequel to it, you should wait no more than 5 years. I want to see Independence Day because I'm selfish like that. But you're always good. The problem is you're always going to have moviegoers who have been living under a rock, and they don't know what these classic movies are. But the good thing about it is they can always go back and watch them if they're curious. But the problem with they're talking about making a sequel to Top Gun and Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner, but
yes, Blade Runner I am looking forward to. I want to say that right off the cuff.
Oh yeah, that movie was amazing, but it's good and it's bad. It's good in the fact that it causes people to go back and watch these classic movies, but at the same time it's bad because it runs the risk of failure, because it's they're from different eras. So you have if you watch the original Independence Day, obviously it doesn't look anything like the new one that's out with all the CG and
But that's what I want to ask you. Is it allowing, is it enticing people to go and see the original movie if they didn't catch it the first time, or they've grown up maybe they were kids when they were first came out, like with Independence Day, and they didn't really, they weren't even born yet in some cases, and are they getting the incentive to actually watch the original source material as far as it's concerned, in your opinion?
I think so, because I think it's the same principle as like with video games, because we're on Halo 5 right now, and obviously there's a new Call of Duty coming out. If the stories are connected, people are going to want to go back and play the original. So I feel like if someone sees the trailer for Independence Day or Resurgence and they're like, okay, that looks really cool, obviously they're going to do more than just watch the trailer. They're going to look into it, see if there's any prequels, see what the story is. So I feel like it has the potential to do it, but some people just, you always have those moviegoers who just don't really care that much. So that's the one danger with making a sequel like that.
Fair enough. That movie is coming out in June, mid-June. My picks for the summer movie season, although those were three outstanding ones, which are high on my list as well. X-Men Apocalypse coming out Memorial Day weekend, and that will be in a heavy battle with Alice Through the Looking Glass, as both look to get that market share from the Memorial Day weekend. Warcraft, which I know a lot of our gaming friends have really been looking forward to for quite some time. That's coming out on June 10th, because obviously because of the success of World of Warcraft for so many years, seeing how it translates onto the big screen is not only as a curiosity, but also as well because they have such a large and fervent fan base, even to this day, regarding pretty much all the Blizzard products, as we'll cover here in when we go into the video games issue part of it a little later on in the podcast. And then also Star Trek Beyond, which as a fan of the new Star Trek movies, because I've seen a lot of the Star Trek lore, previous movies, previous series, whatnot. I've seen an extensive list of them, but the Star Trek reboot in 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness even 3 years ago, both provided for me great entertainment. I think basically Star Trek for me, the reboot has proven to be one of the best movies of the new millennia. In my opinion, I think it got J.J. Abrams the job for Star Wars. So those are three movies that I'm looking forward to, although this time it's going to be Justin Lin, the director of Fast and Furious 7, I believe, that will be helming this movie. So look for a lot of action and fast-paced excitement in that movie as they go into the deep beyond. So those are three movies that I'm looking forward to, and those are three more movies that Josh is looking forward to as well on his list. So we hope that we're hoping for a great summer movie season. It's kicking off in the Americas here this weekend with Captain America: Civil War, which I know you are eagerly anticipating, as am I.
Yes.
I don't think, even with all the contenders out there, with Bourne, with Independence Day, with Alice, all these movies have garnered over a great deal of money in their previous outings. In fact, Alice has garnered over $1 billion worldwide. I still think my money is on Captain America: Civil War. It always has the lead point as far as the Marvel movies are concerned. The first weekend of May is always a great lead point for the summer movie season. I think it will win again. The great reviews, notwithstanding, already have been out there from both critics and fans alike worldwide. So I just think that's going to translate into a lot of love for Marvel, for Disney, and I think it's going to end up on top this summer season. Right now, it's trending at about the same rate as Ultron, so $1.5 billion worldwide. So I think that Disney will take that. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, anything that has Marvel's name on it, it's going to make a whole ton of money. It's already what were it's already out overseas, right? And
That's correct. It's garnered over $200 million in its first weekend. It is trending right now at the same pace of Age of Ultron. I know Doctor Strange is something I will hopefully talk to you later this year, because that might not have the same Marvel magic. And I know you were talking earlier about as far as the mysticism of the Marvel universe. But that's something for another day. I know we can touch on. But right now, it definitely looks like Captain America Civil War will be commanding the summer box office movie season. And I'm sure, is that what you agree as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's after this, people are going to be forgetting all about the Batman versus Superman fiasco.
I agree with you indeed. And they will have their heart set on watching comic book movies yet again. So that being the case, that's coming out in the month of May. And also, as we talked about the summer movie season kicking off here in the Americas, but is also May seems to be, has transitioned to a great month for video games. And there's a number of releases that are noteworthy as far as coming out. But first, I want to talk about what I wasn't expecting in May until late last week when I heard rumors of both Activision and also EA hinting that they're going to drop their new titles as far as their new installments of Call of Duty and Battlefield, and they're going to make official announcements this week. Well, sure enough, we've gotten Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. That has been announced, and with certain additions, you can get a revamped version of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare with that, which also is one of my personal favorites. So we're looking forward to that in November. I believe it's November 4th. That was officially announced. Dishonored 2 from Bethesda. They've announced a sequel to the outstanding stealth game. That is also coming out later this year. They did announce that earlier today. And we're just on pins and needles, but it's funny because EA, the rumors of EA announcing Battlefield 5 were just pretty much over a week now. And Call of Duty and Activision managed to sneak their major announcement in, pretty much stealing all the thunder away from Electronic Arts and Battlefield yet again. But I think it's from what I'm still reading as far as, and what we're reporting on the internet is that it will still be announced officially in some capacity, Battlefield 5 this week. Your thoughts as far as this is concerned? Any excitement regarding Infinite Warfare, Battlefield 5, or Dishonored 2?
Sorry, I forgot I muted the microphone. Anyways, the Battlefield 5 is the World War I game, right? Is that what we're...
Well, rumors have it, yeah, that it's going back to a World War One, as far as it's concerned. So we'll see if that actually happens and materializes. We could get word as early as tomorrow for the game. It was something that they had hinted towards for, like I said, a week, and Activision just snuck right in there with the Call of Duty and just burst their bubble yet again, which just shows that it's Call of Duty, and then there's every other warfare game. It just kind of really just amuses me time and time again how they continue to upstage EA and Battlefield time and time again. Even though I personally in later editions and recent editions have personally favored the Battlefield series, but that's, like I said, it just from a consumer point of view, it seems like Activision is constantly getting the one up with the Call of Duty series.
Oh, they're keeping tabs on each other. That's that's a competitive market. Well, I mean, not really just for them two, but I haven't played a Call of Duty game since Ghost was the last one I played. Honestly, it kind of fizzled out for me, my interest in it. I do still like Battlefield, and the fact that they're going back to World War I makes me interested in it, because I think that these what would you call it, like future warfare games, I think people they've kind of had their time, and it's time to move on.
Well, you say that, but Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, if you've seen the trailer, it's come out, where they start here on land and then they go into space. So again, they're still trying to go to the outer reaches and whatnot. I think eventually they will also transition into previous wars like they once did with World War II and World War I and whatnot. But right now, Infinite Warfare, when it comes out later this year, is still heading towards the stars as far as it's concerned, with battles beyond the galaxy almost, or at least beyond our planet, Earth and whatnot. So.
Do you think they're trying to So do you think they don't see Battlefield as a threat anymore? They're trying to compete with, obviously Doom is coming out, and they're trying to compete with Doom and Halo and those like space shooters now, like Dead Space.
I don't think they've ever really thought of Battlefield. I think maybe at one point in time they might have thought of Battlefield as a contender because Battlefield itself has sold on average over 10 million copies. At least in the last 2-3 editions. But the problem is they don't sell much beyond that 10 to fit in the 10 to 15 range. Whereas Call of Duty, as you and I both know, upwards of 15, 20, 25 million copies. Not quite GTA 5 land, but hey, they do garner close to 20 million copies, if not more, every single outing, every single year. Which they're if you don't buy it during the holiday season, they're usually stay number one for a number of months after that. So their longevity and the legs with the series continually astounds analysts, critics, and reporters. Just the continued favorite of the series. So I think they see Battlefield not as a major threat, but as someone that they were once concerned with as far as tying up their marketplace. That if you bought Battlefield, you weren't going to buy Call of Duty. Well, there are the hardliners that will just only buy Call of Duty and won't touch Battlefield, and vice versa. But for the most part, for the casual audience that buys only 3 to 5 games a year, I don't see that there's an issue between that. And I still think that Call of Duty is going to end up blowing it still out of the water, even though Battlefield 5 itself will ultimately see and garner some success in a relative speaking. So,
well, the thing about what I've noticed with Call of Duty players is that they're all that's really the only video game they play. They'll pick up Call of Duty and Madden, and that's or whatever their sport game of choice is, and those are really the only 2 video games that they'll bother playing. They won't they don't venture out of their comfort zone that often. Just from what I've noticed.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, like I said, at this point in time, they're still very comfortable in what they're doing. People have even with us at GameSource, we've predicted their demise for a number of years now. And at this point in time, I have to see it before I think that series is going to go down, because at this point, I can still pretty much bank. You could pretty much bank on 20 million copies being sold, which will still be a significant success. And since Activision and Blizzard are combined together, and they have so many entities that they can lean off of for great sales, including one we'll speak of here in a minute, I just think that the Call of Duty train will keep on rolling. Right down to the cash register. So at least substantially ahead of what Battlefield will do.
Right.
But there's also other games, and like I said, Dishonored 2 was also mentioned as of today, which I know a lot of people were looking for. But May is turning out past few years, May has really become a time for many developers to actually release, and publishers to actually bring out some top games. Almost on the level of maybe a September, October, as far as the number of quality games being released. Not quite November, because November seems to be the big gun still, because obviously the Black Friday and holiday purchasing season. But still, May is still a very strong month for video games, and this month is no exception, and this year is no exception in May, because you have titles such as from 2K, Battleborn. Obviously, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which, from Sony, the PS4 exclusive, which, as you know, is near and dear to my heart and Nathan Drake's heart, who's actually sitting right behind me. Homefront: The Revolution, Doom, and Overwatch. And to me, Doom obviously is a reimagining of the hit from the 1990s that reinvented the first-person shooter genre. That's obviously Bethesda's way of showing it some love. It's come out to many praise as far as demos and its betas are concerned. But the game that I really think people should watch out for, as far as is concerned, is Overwatch. And the I want to say it's similar to the Battlefield Call of Duty conundrum, because Battleborn is being released by 2K, a very strong publisher, very, very strong publisher with several games out there that they've helped produce and make hits. And Overwatch, which is being published by Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, and obviously everybody knows their name as far as it's concerned. The games, if you look on the surface, so don't give me some slack here as far as everybody out there, as far as on the comments is concerned. On the surface, they seem to be the same relative type game as far as a first-person shooter in an arena type format as far as it's concerned. But the tremendous appeal to Overwatch, because not only is it garnering traditional first-person shooter fans, but the fact that it is being produced by Blizzard. What I've noticed as far as the demos and the betas for that game as they've been played, and the comments that people are saying online as far as is concerned, really have impressed me as far as how the actual end-up game will be selling once it hits shelves later this month. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of people who don't normally and would never touch first-person shooters, I'm reading online, I'm reading their comments, they're impressed with the game. They say, even though usually the comments are going, well, I'm lousy at first-person shooter games, but because it's Blizzard and because it's something that I really can connect with because of my experiences with Blizzard through Warcraft or what have you, Heroes of the Storm, that whole 9 yards, just seems to be as far as the bigger connection to them. And I think it's going to ultimately lead to Overwatch being a big seller as far as once it's released later this month, like I said. What are your thoughts as far as the games of May? I know Uncharted 4 is going to be pushed by Sony. It already has been. I think there's going to be some great success for that game as well. But because Overwatch is being put out on PC, Xbox One, and PS4, I really see some big success for that game, as opposed to Battleborn, which I think is going to suffer from the same Battlefield-like issues. It's going to sell, but not to the extent of Overwatch.
Well, let's talk about Battleborn for a second, because it's made by, as you know, I love Borderlands. It's one of my favorite video games. And I think because Overwatch is made by 2K Games, everyone's going to expect it to be another Borderlands. So I think they're going to be, it's kind of like how, what was it, when Brink came out, everyone thought that since it was made by Bethesda, it was going to be like their role-playing games, but it ended up not being that great. I think that's going to be Battleborn's problem. It looks cool. I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out. What I'm looking forward to is I am looking forward to Uncharted 4. That's probably going to make me go drop the money on a PlayStation 4, which I've been putting off for a while.
Get the Uncharted version.
Is there a bundle?
There's a bundle with Uncharted, with a Nathan Drake Uncharted PS4. I'm thinking about getting it myself, or trying to trade my PS4 for it. Thinking about doing it. Not sure, not 100%, but I'm hopeful I can pull some strings and get some help. Maybe from my friends at Retro City Games. You never know. To try and see if we can work something out. And shout out to Retro City Games, our good friends here in Henderson, Nevada. They're working hard with their new store as far as it's concerned, and we appreciate everything that they've done for us. But yes, definitely there's a new Uncharted 4 bundle coming out with a homage to Nathan Drake, actually on the PS4 itself.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now,
but there'll also be some great, I'm sure, $2.99, $3.49 specials as well. And I'm sure you're going to start seeing that pop up here in a few days. But yeah, Uncharted 4, I can, as I've shown my love for the series and called it, in my opinion, the greatest series ever in video game history. And I'm sorry to all Zelda, sorry to all Mario, sorry to all, as far as you name it, Call of Duty fans and whatnot. To me, it is my personal choice, a series choice as far as quality series is concerned. And if somebody asked me that's not familiar with video games, what series would I start with as far as from a storytelling standpoint, I don't think there's any better place to start than the Uncharted series.
Oh, hey, everyone's entitled to their opinions on their favorite games. I think Uncharted is a great game because it doesn't really feel like you're playing a video game. Yes, it is. You know, sometimes the game mechanics are a little frustrating, especially when you're in those firefights, like in the markets and stuff. But it's a great game. That you don't really notice that you're devoting 8, 16, 20 hours of your life to this game. It's just kind of it's fun to play all around.
It's the type of game that actually people will sit down on the couch and sit down in the chair next to you and actually just watch and enjoy watching, because they are experiencing a lot like people that would experience a movie, as far as from a storytelling standpoint is concerned. And I just think that type of experience has led me to have such an affinity for the series itself. But I'm looking forward to that. But your thoughts on Overwatch as well, as far as, because obviously Homefront, the Revolution and Doom, they're obviously I think they'll do well as first-person shooters. But I think Overwatch to me stands out as the game that's going to really kick it into gear this month over any of the others, because of they're all on all 3 formats that are being currently sold right now. So what are your thoughts on that?
I haven't really looked too much into Overwatch. I know it's out there and I read a couple articles about it, but I haven't really watched any trailers for it. So I feel like I'm interested in it, but I want to know more about it before I go out and buy it.
And like I said, the game itself has a lot of similarities to Battleborn, but I think because of so many people's so many gamers' fascination and familiarity with the Blizzard seal of approval, and that they tried it already. I've just seen so many comments on the internet and read so many stories and articles as far as people that are not normally into first-person shooters are into this because of their affiliation and love for the Blizzard product. And I think ultimately, with Blizzard's successes, substantial successes over the many years in gaming that they have, I think this will continue that line of it, and we'll probably see a strong run throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely. It's with a company like Blizzard, though, they always run the risk, because this is a different kind of game for them. So you always kind of run the risk of it's either going to do really well or people are going to hate it. But yeah. That's just a risk you got to take. I'm watching some footage of it right now. It looks really cool. I love the animation. I never got much into World of Warcraft, but this is definitely something I'd be interested in playing.
There is an open beta coming soon, so look out for that. And also, if people get a chance, check us out on our GameSource Facebook page or Twitter at GameSource. And we can give you the latest news on when the open beta starts. In fact, we have previously, but we'll be posting more of that when it starts, so you can get involved in the open beta, because I have a feeling it's coming around very soon, if memory serves me correct. And we can give you constant updates on that, as we always do, at GameSource on Twitter, and also as well GameSource on Facebook from your friends at yourgamesource.com. But before we go, well, I actually want to touch on one last thing with the NX. But before we touch on the NX, I want to actually, as a fellow National University student, and we want to again thank National University for helping us, post this podcast and whatnot. We are truly appreciative of being a part of the NAU Herald. You can catch some of our written articles, and you can also catch the first 2 chapters of Vendetta Dark on the NU Herald. But outside of your great-selling book, Vendetta Dark, which you can catch on Amazon, tell us a little bit more about what's going on with Josh, as far as some of the things that you're doing, and would like to see people get out there so people can get more affiliated with your work.
Oh wow! Really, I always have start these projects that I tend to not finish, but just because I get so excited about new stuff and it pops in my head, it's like fireworks constantly. But like you said, I wrote that book Vendetta Dark, and I'm trying to find the time right now to finish another book I'm working on called Congratulations, You Suck, and I'm hoping that'll be out soon. And what else have I got? I have a short story that's out now called Center Space. It's actually connected to Vendetta Dark, so it's kind of an indirect sequel. So if you liked Vendetta Dark, or if you're reading it on the NU Herald, there I know they're going to eventually get to the end of the book. So if that's, if you want to read more, Center Space should hold you over until I get around to writing a sequel to Vendetta Dark. Right now, I've also got a web series in production called Beta about people who review video games. So it's kind of, close to the heart.
How can they catch that as far as it's concerned? How can they catch Beta?
Beta, they can watch on, I'm going to put it up on a YouTube channel for my production company called Pogue Media. So you can check us out on Facebook. We do all kinds of stuff from, if you have from school projects to music videos to weddings. So you can check us out on Facebook, but we have a YouTube page that we will be posting the web series to, and you will be able to catch it on Facebook.
Oh, that's great. Definitely looking forward to that indeed. And when it comes out, definitely do what we can to spread the word, and just such an incredible series of stuff going on for you, Josh, and we wish you all the success with that.
Thank you.
And then, with the NU Herald, we hope you catch the NU Herald whenever you can. It's nuherald.com, and be able to go ahead and catch all the great articles from all the great students here at National University. And if you are a student of National University and want to get involved with that, please contact the editor-in-chief, Michelle. She's been awesome as far as being able to get that stuff out there for as far as it's concerned, and as far as get those articles out there in detail. I know she's been great as far as accepting content for the NU Herald. So even if you're not a journalism major or whatnot, and you just like to write stories, you just want to share your opinion on the world at large, and you're a National University student, so check us out, nuherald.com, and you'll see the link right there to contact the editor or contact Professor Kelly, who's just been so awesome as far as, well, dealing with Josh and I, because we're probably two of our more troubled students over the past 2 years. So, what can we say about that? But be that as it may, okay, maybe it's me. I'll say it's me. Josh is pet over there. So how about that?
Yeah, I'll shoulder some of that blame.
There you go. Fair enough indeed. But we truly want to appreciate all the work and all the help that Professor Kelly does for us well. But if you're interested as far as writing for the NU Herald, check it out, nuherald.com. They need and are accepting of tons of content if you have it, even if it's just some small article or whatnot, or just any type of contribution. It is greatly appreciated, because we really want to make the NU Herald really something big, to not only help promote the paper itself, but also as well to help promote the school. Because I don't know, I can't speak for Josh, but I'm just from my words, dealing with Josh as far as over the past year and whatnot. My experience at National University has been outstanding, and I'm not being compensated. There should be an asterisk right there. Not a paid actor, as far as it's concerned, but it's been a great experience for me, and I truly appreciate my time at National University. I don't know, I would say the same. Is that correct for you as well?
Oh yeah, they've been very accommodating to my work schedule, and it's been a nice experience.
That's same for me as well, and I've truly enjoyed my experience coming back to school, especially after 25 years. It's really was very unnerving at first, back last year when I first started, but I really appreciate and really am glad I did it now. But before we go, I want to talk one little other announcement that came the other day at the Nintendo shareholders meeting. The NX was finally officially announced as coming March 2017 to retailers near you, along with Zelda, which will be simultaneously released on the Wii U and the NX. My question to you is, was this a good move by Nintendo, or would you have liked to seen it come out sooner, aka the holiday season?
Well, there's no new consoles coming out from Sony or Xbox, so it's really, they're going to be the first to launch like a new generation of consoles. So as far as that's concerned, as long as they have something coming out, I don't know what E3 holds for them, but as long as they have something exciting coming out between now and then to kind of keep them afloat. I know this is a big deal for Nintendo, because if this doesn't sell as well as they're hoping it will, this could be the end of their console race,
Well, that's the problem. Nintendo has announced that there will not be any NX showing at E3. Zelda Wii U footage will be shown, at least to some detail. But other than that, not really a whole lot has been announced for E3 for Nintendo, which is kind of concerning for Nintendo fans everywhere, which might mean not a lot is coming out for the rest of the year for Nintendo. I'm kind of disappointed in one fashion that is coming out next March, because they will not be able to take advantage of being a new console out in the holiday season, where the major new release will be the PlayStation VR. My concern is that consumers will not have regrouped their money as far as for that substantial amount to buy a $400 or $500 console by March. So I'm not sure about sales if that's a concern. But I know from the aspect of them releasing in March, I know that part is good, where when you consider they're probably running behind as far as either Zelda production on the console, or a number of games to launch with the NX, which obviously if seeing several console launches yourself, launch lineups are usually lackluster at best. So maybe if they can provide a quality launch lineup, everybody will forget about that and will gain and spark some great interest in less than a year in March, whatnot. I just think that them to capitalize on consumer demand might have been better to release in November, but I realize from a logistics standpoint that may not have been ever in the cards. So, final thoughts on the NX before we head on out?
Well, you got to think about it. Like, yeah, they're missing out on, Black Friday, Christmas, obviously, like the big shopping days. But if it's not done, if it's still in production, like they're still working out the little kinks in it. They don't, it's better to just release when it's finished than try to rush it.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that end, and I just think that they weren't ready for it, but they should have had this more in the planning stages, so where they could have released in November, as far as and got everything lined up in a better fashion. But
yeah, that's true.
Nintendo has not exactly made all the right moves, and I know they're being careful this time. They are finally getting to the mobile market in great detail, so I'm very pleased to see that for them, and I wish them success with that. But I also wish them success from the NX, and I will be curious because I was close to buying Wii U, but I decided in the end that they weren't going to support it, and as far as that's why I held off as a consumer in this case. So I'd like to be able to be justified in getting a Nintendo console again, and so I'm hopeful that the NX will win out on that end. So that being the case, I think we're gonna wrap this thing up as far as the podcast is concerned. We appreciate you joining us, for the National University Herald, and also, when this is published, also as well on YourGameSource.com. And if you have any questions, you can just always contact me, Gerald, at GameSource on Twitter, or via our GameSource Facebook. Please like us, follow us, whatnot, and you will get the latest information on gaming news. We've posted over 60,000 posts from around the internet, including our own stuff. I know Josh has got a review coming up. I've got some reviews coming up that we'll also post on as far as is concerned. I'll make you everybody aware. Looking forward to that. But also as well, wanted to make sure everybody knows about our new entity as well. I know Josh has got some great stuff we're working on, but I just released out Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, and also Pop Culture Cosmo, because Twitter wouldn't give me an extra S, on Twitter, which is releasing that same kind of great information about the pop culture, whether it's movies, televisions, film, esports, collectibles, board games, professional wrestling, all those great things in pop culture that people have interest in. We put out Pop Culture Cosmos so that you can get the latest information on everything going on in pop culture. We'll also have a touch of gaming in there as well. So we're looking definitely forward to growing that. So if you want to follow us there as well and get the latest news and information in the pop culture world, pop culture universe, check us out, Pop Culture Cosmo on Twitter and Pop Culture Cosmos, which is the way I wanted to actually be on Twitter, but oh well. Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook as well. So any last thoughts before we head on out, my friend, on this special, National University Herald podcast?
First of all, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. Oh, and sorry. First of all, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. And if you want to check out Vendetta Dark, it is available on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble in paperback and ebook. And also Centerspace is available for digital download on Barnes & Noble. And yeah, check out Pogue Media if you get a chance. Give the page a like. And if you're in the market for some cinematography, be sure to hit us up.
Oh, that's awesome. Sounds great. Vendetta Dark is a great read. I highly recommend it. If anybody gets a chance out there, do not wait for the next volumes chapter by chapter. I mean, because the NU Herald is respecting the author and releasing it slowly, like fine wine, over a period of time. If you really like what you read so far, and the first few chapters are on the NU Herald, go and buy the book because it's an awesome read, and I know you'll enjoy it indeed. So that's going to do it for us this time. But hopefully we'll be able to post more podcasts. Us or any National University students that like to podcast out there, we invite you to go ahead and join us on the National University podcast. As far as it's concerned, we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, taking the time to watch us. And this is, also as well, Game Source Podcast 141, from especially, and give a shout out again to National University. So for me, Gerald Glassford, and my good friend and fellow National University student, Josh Peterson.
It's been a pleasure.
As always, my friend, and I hope you enjoy. Are you getting in line now for the movie after this podcast?
Yeah, right now I got my tent packed up in the car and all that, and my Captain America costume. I'm Team Cap. I don't know about you. What are you? Who are you pulling for?
I wanted to say Team Cap as well, but I'm going to have to go say Team Iron Man just because you said Team Cap, and I let you got first dibs on that. So I'm going to go Team Iron Man on that.
This is a Game Source Civil War going on here.
It's something like that. National University Civil War. There you go. Only at the NU Herald and Game Source. So for me, Gerald Glassford and Josh Peterson, want to thank you for watching, listening, and being a part of our podcast. It's another beautiful day in paradise, and we hope you have yourselves a great day.